June 16th, 1990, a boy was born, white in complexion, but black in the pants. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, you can call me White Boy, and this is the story of my life. We all grew up, we all have a story, but I find mine to be a pretty unique one. Lots of ups, lots of downs, and I want to share it with you guys. So it all started when I dolphin dived out into this world 2 weeks premature with a minor heart condition to a wonderful, beautiful, strong, intelligent single mother, the best woman I would ever get the pleasure of knowing. My dad was around, but my mom and dad, they never got married, but let's just say they were divorced. They were in a really serious relationship, and it just never worked out between them. I did get to see my dad every week or so, but growing up, you don't really have too many memories. You have a few fond ones of traumatic events or memorable events or just random silly things. And one of the things I remember was getting this Sylvester Stallone, the cartoon cat, about a life-size Sylvester Stallone, bigger than me when I was like 3, and I absolutely loved it. I opened the present, I had the biggest smile on my face, and I just gave it a huge hug, and I wrestled with it. I really liked the World Wrestling Federation, and the point that I'm trying to make here is, from what I can remember, I had a pretty decent childhood. Not the best, but I had fun, and every time I look back at old photographs, I always have a huge smile on my face. I don't know if my mom was just a good photographer or if I was just generally happy all the time. But then I grew up. I was kind of a mama's boy growing up. But then I turned to the streets, the hood, the ghetto, whatever you want to call it. I wasn't a gangbanger. I didn't sell drugs. But I was still a mischief, and I would get myself in little troubles here and there, stealing from gas stations, breaking windows, tipping over garbage cans, stuff like that. And that kind of led to not getting the best grades, trying to be a class clown, eventually smoking weed, skipping a lot of school, and having minor run-ins with the law, running from the police, driving in cars, shooting paintballs out the window. So I wasn't the best kid growing up, but I had fun with what I had, and that wasn't much, so I had to resort to making my own fun, and that's what kids do. So from the ages of about 12 to 17, I was a troublemaker, going to parties, getting drunk, things of that nature. And then my grandma passed away. Grandma Betty, I loved her. She spent her money, her checks that she got from the government. She spent $150 every 3 months on me so I can get some clothes, and I'll never forget that. And she put clothes on my back, and that was a good majority of the amount of money I got for back to school shopping. So she passed away. I never told anybody this, and this is going to be my first time saying it out loud, but I think I had a suicide attempt. I was so depressed. That was my first loss of my family, and I didn't have a big family growing up. I was the only child. My dad wasn't always there. Just my mom, my grandma, and an uncle or two. So I had this bottle of tequila or something that I snuck in from my mom's room. I took it from her, and I just remember drinking it like it was water. I drank so much, and I do remember 2 days. I was passed out for a whole day, but waking up, there was like aspirin all over the floor. I totally wrecked my room. Dressers were on the floor, clothes were everywhere, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if I took some pills, some of the aspirins while drinking, but yeah. And then 6 months later, my other grandma passed away from my dad's side. I didn't have grandpas growing up. They passed away at an early age, which is kind of scary for me because my dad also passed away relatively early at the age of 55 while I was still in high school. Last year, senior year, I remember skipping school and coming home early. My friend Jason gave me a ride home, and I saw my mom crying in her bedroom, and she was on the phone, and I knew something was bad. And she gave me the news that my dad passed away, and that was the most traumatic experience in my life because I did love my dad. He did try to be with me as much as he could. We got to see each other about once a week, and our thing was going bowling. And I was a good bowler. I was a really good bowler. I had dreams of going pro, and that really shocked me. That came out of nowhere. I guess he had like a tumor and he had problems. Like he fell a few times, and I guess he just fell and bumped his head and bled out in the middle of the night in the cold, and that was the worst for me at that point. And I said fuck school. I took off a week, and then when I went back, I missed every Monday, missed every Friday, skipped classes here and there, and that was the time where I kind of started smoking, and I started smoking heavy. I went from I had a purist kind of mindset where I didn't want to smoke. For some reason, all my friends were smoking. I was fine with drinking, but I chose not to smoke, and I needed something to get away from it, because my dad was my hero. I looked up to him so much, and out of nowhere he just passes away. I couldn't deal with it, so I resorted to just smoking a lot of weed, a lot of weed, and playing Call of Duty, as silly as it sounds. Because one way I personally dealt with pretty much my whole family passing away in a 2-year span was I try to get away. I try to be this character, White Boy 7th Street, where I wasn't Alex, but I was this gamer. I was somebody else. I was an online personality. I was a video game character, if that makes any sense. I wasn't me, but I was that guy throwing grenades going up on Bluto or Granada. I was that guy, and it helped me escape, and so did the weed. And at that point, I just kind of shut everybody out besides my mom. I just wanted to stay in and play Call of Duty. I didn't want to talk about it to my friends. I just wanted a game. That's all I wanted to do. And then I get shot in the eye with a BB gun. I lose sight out of my left eye for 3 days, and it slowly recovers over the course of a month. My eye is swollen for graduation. It was bad, and I was so terrified, and I can't see 100% out of it now. Before the surgery, it was like 30%. So just thing after thing after thing piling on, pressure with graduation, my dad passing away, my eye getting shot. I didn't have much to look forward to. And then I graduate shortly after. My mom gets diagnosed with breast cancer, and she already got diagnosed earlier my senior year, but she beat it. She did the chemotherapy, all that stuff, and I went to her with her treatments. It did not look fun. It did not look easy, and then the doctor said it came back with a vengeance. It came back bigger and stronger, and it spread to her liver, her lungs, pretty much all over the place. So at that point, I didn't have much looking up to me. I had to take care of my mom. She took care of me the previous 18 years, raising me by herself. So I had to put everything aside. Any small hopes I had of being kind of successful, whether that be go to college or get some kind of shitty job. I couldn't do anything because I had to be there for her. And the worst thing I knew was there was no hope of recovery. There was just time to delay the inevitable. So it wasn't looking bright for me. And I didn't have much going on. I said to myself, I only have a few options here. I could join the Army. I could become a professional bowler, trying to pick that back up, but it was so difficult for me to get into a bowling alley, like just step in it, because that was my dad's and mine thing. I couldn't do it. I couldn't step into a bowling alley or growing marijuana. That was my 3 goals, or 3 kind of prosperous things that I thought a little glimpse of. And this sounds silly, but that's the only thing I had to look forward to, and those aren't good things to look forward to. Not saying that the Army's a bad thing, and I respect all our servicemen and women out there. They're brave individuals, but that's not for me. If I couldn't get shot in the eye with a BB gun, what do I think? I could go to the Army. So my mom passes away, and she fought in there, and she was what I loved about my mom is she had fun with it. She was bald. She had beautiful hair beforehand, but she would like put a smiley face on the back of her bald head, and that just helped lighten the mood. And I just liked that about her, that she was strong. That second round of chemo was really, really difficult. I remember sleeping in the hospital 4 nights in a row on a chair, and I had to stay up because she had an infection in her lungs, and I had to stay up to see that she was still breathing, and her heart rate would go so low, and I would like, mom, and I would have to wake her up to get it going again. It was anyways guys, she passed away 2 days after Modern Warfare 2, and I kind of lost it. I went crazy for a period, and honestly I think a lot of people would have, but then I just shut everybody out. I was on food stamps. The only thing I would do was go out to get a whole bunch of junk food to eat, like Doritos and soda, and frozen pizza was my diet for a while, and Modern Warfare 2. So I just started posting Call of Duty videos, and then I got a life-changing YouTube message.